This is the second time I'm doing this whole video. Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you the top 10 accessories, in my opinion, to have in your garage that are commonly overlooked. And I'm not going to be going over tools because everyone kind of already knows about tools, but this is, you know what I mean, this is stuff that's left out that really does save you time and money if you use them. Roll that intro. Alright, so first thing we're going to cover, coveralls. So these right here are coveralls, and what they do is they cover all. So basically you go ahead and slip these on top of your current clothes, and so that way whenever you're working on your car, all the grease and everything gets on here rather than on your actual clothes. On top of that, you've got these fancy little long sleeves over here. So, you know, of course you have your hands in these, and so if you're doing like taking off the oil filter off something and it's right near the headers of a car, you know, you don't burn your arm on the headers. So this adds a little layer of protection right there. I use it from when I'm welding or grinding as well, so that way none of the sparks actually fly on me. And yeah, overall that saves you because you don't have to ruin your clothes by doing that. So, you know, if you have a super sexy Keep Drifting Fun shirt, you know, on, you can go ahead and throw coveralls on it and protect it. Maybe you have a super sick What Monsters Do shirt on, you know, repping 240 and 180s. You don't ruin that. Maybe you have your favorite Radiator Company shirt on, doesn't ruin that. Or maybe you have a super sick Calvin Klein color change purple shirt on, you don't want to ruin that one either. So for example, let me show you the clothes that I have ruined, which there's actually a lot. You got this shirt right here, which there are 2 holes on the bottom of it, as well as some grease marks. You have my shorts right here, which I actually still pull off and wear these ones, but they have a whole bunch of spots on them as well. There you go, it's another 20 bucks. And then you have these shorts, which, oh my, these ones are just like rest in peace. I just now use them just for like working on the car because that's how messed up they are. This shirt right here, I think I wore it maybe 2 times before I went ahead and got a grease mark on the bottom of it. So there's another 20 bucks. And then of course, got my white ones right here, which really, I mean, these ones are just super just like dark in general. So there you go, you basically got this one, which is like, you know, 20 bucks or whatever. You got this one, which is like 10, 20. These ones are like 20. These ones are like 20, 10, 20. So right there, I'm pretty sure that's over $100 worth of clothes. You can go ahead and buy coveralls. These are Dickies coveralls. You can find them on Amazon. I should have everything in the description for a link to everything. And those things are about $30. So you spend $30, you save, you know, $100 in clothes that you waste. So that's super sick. All right, number 2 on the list. You got knee pads. Now, if you're working on your car, you're doing a lot of work on your knees. And so because of that, you should have knee pads, of course, because the cold ground really messes up your knees, you know, and it's kind of just like uncomfortable. On top of that, you got a whole bunch of metal shavings on the ground if you're doing a whole bunch of grinding work. So really, you can cut your knees. And so really, these you can pick up for about $3 at Harbor Freight, and they just save your knees. You can already, you know, they're just so scuffed up. Just imagine those being your knees instead. And also, I wasn't kind of going to show these because I'm only doing 10 items, but also with the knees, it's all about, you know, protecting yourself. So really, earmuffs, these are also like $3 at Harbor Freight. You're not going to be considered a wuss if you use these. It's just that if you're grinding for hours a day, it really does hurt your ears if you don't have some ear protection. And then on top of that, a face mask, because again, if you're using a grinder with a cutoff discs are known to blow apart. And if they blow apart and they go into your face, that is going to suck. And so, yeah, so don't get a cutoff disc in your cheek. Instead, use a face mask and you're set, dude. You're set. Next thing we're going to talk about, also in the area of protection. Why protection? Because protection is very important. Why is it important? It prevents mistakes, and you just don't want mistakes in your life. You know what I'm saying? So here we have some gloves. Now I know people usually flip out or like, you know, only wimps use gloves. You know what I'm saying? But in actuality, only the big bosses use gloves, alright? Because, you know, these things, it's like super hard and difficult to get grease off of your hands. And so I'm constantly going back and forth touching the camera. And so it's so much easier to go ahead and just wipe off the grease from gloves, you know, rather than wipe it off your skin. And on top of that, if you got a date later on in the night or whatever, you don't want your fingers looking all greasy and stuff with dirt inside of them. You go ahead and put these gloves on. They protect your fingernails from packing all that dirt inside of them. That way you just take off your glove at the end of the day. You look super baller. You can go out on your date looking all fancy. And then of course you got these gloves, which these protect you more than these gloves do, because these gloves, the average lifespan of these nitrile ones right here, I'd say it's a solid like 5 seconds if you're not doing too much work. If you're doing actual work, it might be a solid like 2.5 seconds before they tear. So that's when you got these gloves right here. So these ones, of course, they protect your hands when you're doing grinding, doing hot metal work, if you're touching stuff again in the engine bay that you just ran your car, doing the oil filter again, it could be hot, so you want to wear gloves. Now I see, and again the reason for doing these, because I see a lot of people overlook gloves, and really it's just like, I use these things all the time. So here I got mechanics gloves. I think these were about $10. They wore through the finger holes. Then I got snap-on gloves. I think these were about $10 or something like that. I wore through the finger holes, and so now I'm onto Harbor Freight gloves because they're about $4, and I'll probably wear through the finger holes again, except I'm not spending $10, for something that's going to be just worn through. There you go. Protection, important. Next thing we have, organization. So the main thing over here is these sandwich bags. You're probably looking at me right now like, this isn't a kitchen. Why are we talking about sandwiches? But basically, you can go ahead and take one of these Ziploc bags, right? You go ahead and drop all your nuts and bolts in here, and then you go ahead and label it with a Sharpie, and that way you can just write 4 bolts front bumper. Like, that's it. You know exactly those for your front bumper. Toss them in the car, toss them on the side. Okay, now you have your organizational skills. This right here doesn't cost that much money. It's going to save you a ton of time because you're not going to have to look around for stuff or lose items and then have to buy them again just because you have poor organizational skills because you didn't take my advice in this video. You get what I'm saying? And then of course you can also use these are the big gum containers. You can go ahead and use these, or prescription bottles. Now the only reason I don't like to use these is because if you have like 20 of these laying around your garage, it kind of just looks bad. People come over and they kind of just like, you sure you should be doing work, bro? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Ziploc bags for the heavier stuff. Use these containers. Damn, organization. I don't know what number this is, but we got degreaser right here. So Purple Power is the most common degreaser in my opinion. Super easy. When you take out a transmission, you take out your diff. You want to get it cleaned. You want to get your car looking super sexy, of course. You don't want grease buildup everywhere. Who wants that? No one wants that. So you go ahead and spray some degreaser on there. Let it sit for a couple seconds. Spray it off. Your parts are all clean again. Also in that area, you can go ahead instead of maybe degreaser, this is more of a lighter duty stuff just for general cleaning, but it's Simple Green. This I think you can pick up for, here is about $15, and you get this big jug, which is a gallon of Simple Green concentrate. And of course on the instructions it says to mix 1 part of this Simple Green concentrate with 64 parts of water. So there's 1 gallon in here, so basically you got 64 gallons of Simple Green for like $15. Alright, so there you go. General purpose cleaners, super handy. They'll clean stuff. You want it. Now, I said I wasn't going to talk about tools, but this is a rotary tool, and I feel like it's left out a lot. And this is one of those things that's super useful just in the garage because it's so small and handy, and you can go into tight corners with it. Basically has a whole bunch of different bits with it. You got drill bits, you got little sanding bits, you got grinding bits, you have engraving bits. If you want to just engrave your stuff, I engraved my transmission with my name, so I thought it would be super awesome and cool. And so there you go. These are pretty cheap. You can go ahead and get expensive ones if you want Dremel, which is name brand, or you can go ahead and get a cheap one, which I honestly don't even know what the brand is of this because I've never bothered to look at it. Alright, now we got pieces of 2x4. You're probably looking at me right now like, we're not building decks over here, we're building race cars. Why do we need 2x4s? Well, to put it simply, you get 8 feet of these for $2.50, alright? So listen to that. Alright, you cut these up into sections. You put it in the front wheels or rear wheels of your car because it's super hella flush, hella slammed, hella everything, okay? And so you go ahead and roll up on this, that way your jack can fit underneath. So basically these act as race ramps. On top of that, you can go ahead jacking up your car, you can use them as wheel chocks, put them behind your wheels. And of course, you got 2 more uses for this thing. When you're hammering stuff, if you don't want to hammer on your super sexy epoxy flooring that you just got done and paid a whole bunch of money for, you can go ahead and hammer on this piece of wood and save your flooring instead. Or you can go ahead and use this for drilling stuff on. So basically you put a piece of metal here, you clamp it, you drill it down, and so that way you're drilling into the wood and you're not drilling into your floor or your desktop bench. Alright, now what is this? I guess this is the 7th, 8th, I think this is the 8th item now. which is WD-40. Now this is WD-40 or penetrating oil like PB Blaster, or I believe Liquid Wrench is one of them as well. This is just one of those things that you want to have handy around your garage, because when you're undoing rusty nuts and bolts, you basically just get one of these things and spray it and let it sit there, and then you know, makes taking off those seized rusty nuts and bolts a lot easier. Alright, now general purpose grease. This is overlooked so much, it's pretty ridiculous how many people they don't have one of these in their garage. You can get one of these for like $5. It's general purpose grease. You can use it on just about anything. If you have like a seal you're installing in your transmission, or like just in general in your car, put some general purpose grease on it so that way it doesn't go in dry and tear the gasket. You know, it fills up all the gaps and makes it super nice. If you have some squeaky control arms or something like that, hit it up, general purpose grease. If you just have, you know, maybe some hinges or something that are making some noise, you need some grease in between, general purpose grease. So it really has a ton of uses, and you go ahead and use it for that. It's one of those things that you don't realize how much you use it until you actually have it, and then you kind of end up just finding yourself putting it on a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, so there you go, general purpose grease. And you got a whole bunch in there. It's going to last you like a long time. Alright, last thing on the list, the torch. Not only is a torch super awesome and cool looking when you light it, but basically you can go ahead and use this and get off any stuck or seized bolts you kind of have, because you know the heat kind of just helps break it up, so that way you can go ahead and undo a lot of those really tight nuts and bolts. On top of that, some bushings, like solid bushings, that require you to heat up the surrounding area before you drop in the bushing, so that, you know, kind of expands the metal. So, you know, torch you can use for that. Or if you want to burn out your old bushings, torch you can use for that. Or if you want to bend metal and make it easier, torch you can use for that. Like seriously, torch uses, I mean, there's like, trust me, you'll use it. Like there's a pretty good amount of stuff that you'll use it for. I'm just going to light this because I want to see it on fire right now. So here we go, you can open it up. You really shouldn't use this lighter. Ah, Jesus. Ow, jeez, this is where you need gloves. There we go. Oh, that's why I was so high. Should have worn gloves on that. Give a whole speech about gloves. Burn my hand on this. Yeah, dude, look how super. So yeah, basically you got a rave going on as long as you use a propane torch. So that's pretty cool. It sounds awesome. It looks awesome. It has awesome purposes. There you go. And now my hand hurts. Alright, so that pretty much concludes all of this. You can go ahead and find all of these in a little Amazon link in the description below, or for the most part, the majority of these things. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you found something useful. And of course, this is my top 10 list of stuff that I use on a daily basis that I find incredibly useful and handy. And so, of course, your list can differ, but just want to give you a heads up on what I end up using. Do some stretches. Alright then, so if this video helped you out, you can go ahead and give it a like. If you want to leave a comment, you can go ahead and leave a comment. I'll go ahead and, you know, usually answer all questions. Of course, if you want to subscribe to see more content, go ahead and subscribe. So, alright, see ya. Of course, style tip for you guys right here is socks and sandals with your outfit.